Hello and welcome to the Prong channel. This is going to be part number 1 of Amnesia, the Dark Descent walkthrough slash gameplay. And despite what you have heard from what other people might have said, really, truthfully, this game is absolutely fucking terrifying. So if you've seen other videos of people kind of jumping or screaming, sure, they do it for some effect, but honestly, there's a lot of it that's really real. So anyways, let's have some fun. I've already played this game, but you know, it's always a new time starting it over again, so I'm sure I'll be just as scared and shit my pants.
Don't forget, some things mustn't be forgotten. The shadow hunting me. I must hurry. My name is Daniel. I live in London at Mayfair. What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus. My name is... I am Daniel.
So this is how you start the game. You wake up in some dilapidated castle. It's pretty dark and dreary, and you have no idea what the hell is going on. You just know that your name's Daniel. So then here you go. Here's a hit. Click J. Go to your journal. But now basically we just need to walk around and kind of find out, you know, what the hell is this place? Where do we go? So, all right, let's open up this door. And we're going to walk through these areas, and some of these objects you can move, some of them you can't. Most of them are pretty interactive though. For instance, here's a tinderbox. You want to pick that up because we're going to use that to light candles and other objects when we're in dark places. And as you'll see very quickly as we go through this, you are losing your mind, and the more that you're in a dark space, the more that you start to shit yourself. See, that right there is already a little bit weird. And going through this, especially as you'll hear the sound effects and the audio that was put into this game is really just gives it what its intensity. It's pretty awesome actually, but really it's kind of hard to play by yourself. Well, I mean, if you're a real man, maybe not, but so you basically just want to go through everything and pick things up. Anything that can be picked up should be picked up. That's kind of the general rule. Certainly anything that has kind of a purplish, bluish, you know, kind of hue to it, or whatever you might call it. That's signifying to us that it's actually important. So you just kind of want to take a trek through most of these rooms and kind of just see what's going on. You're trying to figure out what the hell you're doing here. So that's our main objective right now. We really don't know anything. And you can kind of see this trail of, you know, goo, or whatever you might call it. It's kind of obviously leading us a certain way. So, well, I guess we're going to follow it. I guess I could just hold shift and move a little bit faster. That's generally not something you do very much in this game unless you're actually running away from shit, which you'll see does happen. And we can use these buttons such as E and Q just to lean around corners, which does become very helpful. And you can see that you're kind of starting to lose your mind. These things happen to you. And maybe in watching this video, it's really not that scary, but when you're sitting in the basement alone with headphones on in the dark, you know, it does start to get to you a little bit, especially because the audio is just so awesome. But really, we have no threats at this point. So we really just kind of want to look around and see what we can find, And certainly anything that we can use to light up a space is what we want. So as many of those tinder boxes as we can find or anything else, definitely look for them. They will be your friend. It will be the only thing that will save your ass. Because if you start staying in a dark place too long, you kind of, you lose your mind. And that's not so much fun. It gets hard to play, and then you go batshit nuts. You can't tell what's real, what's not, and, well, then you die. And there's a hint telling us. Let's take a quick look in here, though. And there's kind of a good example of a couple things that happen to you when you're in the darkness too long. So the game does a good job at kind of preparing you for the absolutely insane shit that's about to come. But it takes a little while, though, before you really have any real threats. So we're going to move into this next area. And only because I've played this game, I know I don't have to be too terribly cautious really at this point, because now everything's really just in our heads. But that is a good hint right there that it brings up on the screen. The faster that you can kind of move through the game, complete the puzzles, and move on to the next areas, the more that you hold on to your sanity. So then we just see these little booger things, because I guess we're not moving fast enough. But just a good example of the kind of things that'll come up. But that shit's not even scary, so really it's kind of a big lie. It isn't that simple. Open this up. Okay, we got ourselves a tinderbox. And a lantern. The lantern's nice. It's awesome. So in this case, if you press your tab button, you have an inventory. Shows you how many tinder boxes you got. You have a lantern, and this is how much oil you have. So of course, when you hold the lantern on, that oil only lasts for so long. So it's good to have, but I personally prefer to have the tinder boxes, because once you light a torch or a candle, it stays lit. Which certainly helps if you need to just stand there for a second and bring your sanity back, because you'll see you have your brain health and you have your heart health, and the brain will start looking a little bit weird and saying shit like this when you're having trouble. So we've really not had any threat of danger at all at this point. The game's just kind of trying to get us to set the mood of, feeling really fucking weird. And you always like that sound. It makes that sound every time that you advance into a special area and make some progress. And you'll find notes like these throughout the game, which are very helpful. They're notes out of your diary and journal and others' journals. You see this here? We want to pull that. So anyways, when you find these notes, they'll explain to you kind of what's happening a little bit, or at least some history of what has happened to you.
19th of August, 1839. I wish I could ask how much you remember. I don't know if there'll be anything left after I consume this drink. Don't be afraid, Daniel. I can't tell you why, but know this. I choose to forget. Try to find comfort and strength in that fact. There is a purpose. You are my final effort to put things right. God willing, the name Alexander of Brandenburg still invokes bitter anger in you. If not, this will sound horrible. go to the inner sanctum, find Alexander, and kill him. His body is old and weak, and yours, young and strong. He will be no match for you. One last thing. A shadow is following you. It's a living nightmare, breaking down reality. I have tried everything, and there is no way to fight back. You need to escape it as long as you can. Redeem us both, Daniel. Descend into the darkness where Alexander waits and murder him. Your former self, Daniel.
So there you go. You actually chose to wipe out your own memory. Why the hell would anybody choose to do that, one might ask. And here's to the entrance hall of the next area. So we get a little hint here. To run, hold down left shift while moving. Giving us, at least the impression that we might have to use that feature soon here. So next, really, in order to progress, we have to go through there, and ultimately make it down that way. But it's always good to check out all the areas.
Alexander, is it inside the castle?
In a manner of speaking. Come, bring the lamp. You've been to the refinery, have you not?
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum. My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery. In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brennenburg.
As you go through the game, you'll have these little flashbacks as you kind of start to remember a thing or two, and you often hear about the inner sphincter. So obviously that has some kind of relevance to the game. But let's take a look over here. There might be some things that are useful. There we go, some oil and a tinderbox. Always very useful, always very helpful. And sometimes, looking in the little bit awkward places, you'll find tinderboxes and things. So it's always good to sometimes, move things out of the way. And here we go. Anytime you see big doors like this, don't get excited. You can't leave. And shit like that happens. So, just a word to the wise. So really, one of the best things to do is start up here at the top. And what the hell was that? So we're first going to make our way down this corridor, or this hallway. And this is where we want to enter. This is the end of part 1, and please click to move on to part 2.